Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today's session. If we haven't met yet, I'm Carol Dewey, and each week we're here to help you navigate the financial seas so you can get on with living. And that means shining a light on both opportunity and risk in your wealth engine. This week's topic is personal and powerful. We're calling it efficiency, emotion, and the end of forever stocks. I'll share the simple trick framework I use in every lifestyle and legacy assessment to identify inefficiencies that could be draining your wealth, from hidden taxes and excessive risks to outdated investment mixes and knowledge gaps. And I'll also share the story of a past client, Jack, who held tightly to his Kmart stock until it cost him a comfortable retirement. It's a cautionary tale many investors can relate to, and it's a reminder that no stock, no matter how beloved, is forever. Whether we're talking about Apple, Tesla, or the next big thing in AI, the truth is the same. Efficiency is the name of the game. The winners in the new economy will be those that create or apply it, not the ones we're most emotionally attached to. So let's dive in. Some of the most spectacular successes in the history of American capitalism were also some of its most spectacular failures. This observation does not simply convey a kind of poetic symmetry. It also conveys a critical lesson about the nature of capitalism. No company is immortal. In 1878, the New York Central Railroad became the first company in America to obtain a lofty $100 million market value. 92 years later, the company ran off the rails into bankruptcy. In 1916, U.S. Steel became America's very first $1 billion company. But that epic achievement did not prevent the company from flirting with bankruptcy numerous times before finally auctioning itself off to the highest bidder 2 years ago. General Motors Company joined the $1 billion club in 1926, Sears Roebuck and Company in 1945, Montgomery Ward and Company in 1956, and the Eastman Kodak Company in 1962. Each of these iconic American titans would flourish for decades, but each of them would also land in bankruptcy court. Much like humans, companies enjoy a lifetime of indeterminate length. Some perish in infancy, while others live long and prosperous for decades. But all of them die eventually. Most investors ignore or overlook this important reality. They fall in love with their investments. They treat iconic stocks like they're immortal, forever stocks, and make decisions based on loyalty, emotion, or past performance. But that sort of perspective can be a dangerous one, especially now that AI is running amok in the global economy. I was reminded of that just last week. A woman and her husband came in for their lifestyle and legacy assessment, and we walked through what I call the trick framework, 5 areas where we examine to uncover inefficiencies or friction in your financial plan. T for taxes, are you overpaying or missing opportunities? R for risk, are you truly being rewarded for the risk you're taking? I for investment mix, like a pharmacist checking drug interactions. We review your mix to avoid harmful overlap. C for costs, hidden fees, high expense ratios, or management layers can eat into returns. K is for knowledge gaps. Simply put, you just don't know what you don't know. Everything pointed to inefficiency in her plan. One she could shore up quickly, but she hesitated. Her reason? Apple stock has been good to us over the years. It reminded me of a past client, Jack, a C-level executive at Kmart. Over 35 years, Jack accumulated over $3 million in company stock. It was his reward for loyalty and performance, and he was emotionally attached to it. Every year during our reviews, I encouraged Jack to diversify, but he wouldn't hear it. Kmart has been good to me, he'd say, and then you know how the story ends. Kmart collapsed, and so did the bulk of Jack's retirement portfolio. Hindsight is always 20/20, but so is pattern recognition. In a world where innovation is accelerating and AI is changing the rules, the assumption that great companies will stay great is risky. Companies, like humans, have lifespans. Some flourish and die young, others decline slowly, but none live forever. Admittedly, one of the forever stocks in your portfolio, if it happened to be a 1997 purchase of Apple, up 205,000% since then, or a 2008 purchase of Nvidia, up 100,000% since then, you're feeling no regrets. But in most circumstances, investors pay a price for treating their investments like immortals. They pay a price for assuming a great company will remain great no matter what the competitive threats might emerge or what new technologies might upend the status quo. Companies are living, breathing organisms that subsist on a steady diet of market share gains and or expanding profit margins. If a hostile organism enters the environment, it can destroy the habitat that enabled them to flourish and speed their demise. Hostile organisms usually take the form of a nimble new competitor, or an emerging technology, or a nimble new competitor that is applying an emerging technology. AI is spawning thousands of such companies, many of which will conquer and replace established companies that may seem indomitable today, if not immortal. That's the process an Austro-Hungarian economist by the name of Joseph Schumpeter called creative destruction, and it is an inescapable facet of economic life cycles. As investors, therefore, we cannot afford to bemoan new technologies like AI. We must embrace them. Companies will come and go, whether we like it or not. Our mission is to cozy up to the up-and-comers and steer clear of the down-and-outers. Unfortunately, because the process of creative destruction resembles a chaotic war zone, we cannot always identify the winners or the losers immediately. But one essential two-part test can help cut through the fog of war to provide clarity and insight long before the hostilities end. That test relies on one word: efficiency. Since the process of creative destruction is a war of efficiency, the creator victors of this war provide efficiency gains or utilize them. The destroyee victims do not. Therefore, when analyzing new investment opportunities or evaluating existing positions in your portfolio, ask yourself, is this company introducing a significant efficiency boost relative to the established market-leading product or service? Then ask a related question. Is this company applying new technologies to boost the efficiency of its operations? If the answer to either question is yes, you've probably got a creative winner on your hands. If the answer to both questions is yes, you've definitely got one. The inverse is also true, of course. Companies that elicit a no answer to both questions are heading for the destroyee side of the creative destruction spectrum. Efficiency gains do not always show up immediately in financial statements, but they do show up eventually in various ways: expanding profit margins, a growing market share, rising revenues, or all of them at once. To illustrate the power of efficiency, let's consider one of the earliest American success stories, Ford Motor Company. During its formative years in the early 1900s, this company's profile would have provided a resounding yes to both of my efficiency tests. As a manufacturer of low-cost automobiles, Ford was providing a gigantic efficiency boost over the established technology, horse-driven vehicles. Additionally, and perhaps more importantly, Ford pioneered techniques that dramatically boosted the efficiency of building the cars themselves. Specifically, Ford developed and refined the moving assembly line. This revolutionary innovation enabled the company to both increase the speed of production and decrease the cost. When Henry Ford sold his first Model T vehicles in 1908, the sticker price was $850. But after he and his team had developed an efficient moving assembly line in 1913, he was able to price the Model T at just $440. Thanks to additional refinements, Model T prices continued falling for several years until finally bottoming out at $260 in 1925. Not surprisingly, as sticker prices dropped year by year, annual sales skyrocketed. Fast forward about 100 years and a different sort of efficiency boost got underway, spearheaded by a company named Netflix. The established player in its industry, Blockbuster operated a worldwide network of movie rental stores, initially renting VHS tapes and later DVDs. Blockbuster dominated the market by maintaining large inventories of popular films, pricing competitively, and launching a Blockbuster rewards program that enabled customers to earn free rentals. Armed with these competitive advantages, Blockbuster became the king of the hill in the movie rental business. At its peak in 2004, the company operated more than 9,000 stores and employed more than 80,000 people. But then came along a couple of game-changing developments. First, Netflix began offering DVDs by mail, while Redbox began opening DVD kiosks in supermarkets and elsewhere. Both of these rental channels provided a measure of efficiency compared to driving to a standalone store and renting a DVD, if it was even still available. Remember the disappointment of driving to a Blockbuster on a Friday night to rent a film like the newly released Titanic, only to hear the manager say, "Sorry, all of our copies are checked out until Monday." Although neither Redbox nor the Netflix mail order business posed an existential threat to Blockbuster, they did chip away at its market share. Then came the internet to change the game forever. As broadband internet connectivity spread across the U.S., Netflix recognized and seized the opportunity to pivot from DVD rentals to streaming movies online. Blockbuster did not. In fact, Blockbuster famously rejected an offer from Netflix founders to buy the upstart company for just $50 million. 10 years after that event, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. The chart I'm sharing tells the tale. Netflix, the efficiency-boosting innovator, vanquished Blockbuster, the stagnant established player. Case studies of corporate successes like Ford and Netflix inform the investment process. Up and down the portfolio, the companies to watch are those that are either introducing new efficiencies, applying new efficiencies, or both. Efficiency doesn't always show up immediately in the numbers, but eventually it does. Think Ford in 1913 and its moving assembly line, or Netflix in the 2000s replacing Blockbuster. The winners made things easier, cheaper, or faster. The losers stood still. And today, AI is triggering the next wave of those efficiency gains and the next wave of creative destruction. We can't afford to invest with emotion. We have to invest with clarity, because the real forever in your portfolio isn't the stock. It's your lifestyle. As we wrap up today's discussion, remember this. No company, no matter how successful, familiar, or emotionally significant, is immune to the laws of innovation and efficiency. If your wealth engine is running with friction, whether it's from taxes, risks, costs, or even emotional decisions, our goal is to identify it and fix it before it stalls your progress. That's what the Lifestyle and Legacy Assessment is designed to do. If you'd like help uncovering inefficiencies in your own plan, reach out. We're here to be your guide with clarity, strategy, and care. Until next time, thank you for being here, and here's to navigating toward abundance. We'll see you next week.